Welcome to the Tech Sales Funnels podcast, where we dive deep and answer the ultimate question: how did you hack into tech sales? Each week, we bring you inspiring stories, proven strategies, and insider tips from top performers who've cracked the code to break into tech sales and thrive. Whether you're just starting out, making a career pivot, or ready to level up, this is your go-to space for actionable advice and real-world success stories. Let's crack the code together, because hacking into tech sales isn't just a dream, it's your next move. Now with your host, the founder of Tech Sales Funnels and the tech sales hacker himself, Dayvisson DaSilva.
All right, welcome everyone to the Tech Sales Funnel podcast. Today I have a really special guest, Diego Martos. He's actually also from Brazil. So, hey, two Brazilians here on the call. We're going to be doing the podcast in English, but it's amazing. I'm super excited to hear about his career and his progression. Right now, he's a senior CSA, which is a cloud solution architect at Microsoft. And he's going to walk us through his journey, which is the goal of this podcast, and talk a little bit more about how he hacked into tech sales. So we're going to see how this conversation is going to go, but I'm going to bring him to the stage now, and let's get started. Hello, welcome, Diego.
Hey, beleza. Happy to
Hello.
be here, Daveson. Thanks for inviting me to share my experience today.
Yes, I'm super excited. I did interview one friend of mine, Brazilian as well, but he worked for Google, which was probably so far the most listened, I think, podcast. So
Wow,
I think
interesting.
the Brazilian power here, it's gonna be
Power,
super loud.
power to entire Americas.
I know. Let's go. So um, I like to start at a high level. It's a very high level. Who Diego is. Let's forget about Microsoft. Forget about tech sales. Let's get like a little, a feeling of who you are as a person, and then we're gonna dive deep into the whole technology and how did you hack into tech sales. Then we're gonna take from there. So let's go ahead and can you introduce yourself, Diego, again, and a little bit more on the personal level.
Sure, of course. So Diego Martos, go by the short last name. As many Brazilians, I have three last names, but you can find me as Diego Martos on internet. So born in the 80s, been in the States since 2008. Married, happily married, with my beautiful wife, Pamela, and two kids. Daniel is 6 and Helena 8 years old, so one of each, and a dog that is always here with us. I'm based in Texas, have been in Texas my whole career while here in the States, but started my career back in Brazil. Both our families still live there. We like to travel, and we definitely like to spend time outdoor when not working in front of my PC.
Which is a good thing, right? Just
Yeah,
get out,
always.
go outdoors. Daniel, by the way, is the name of my dad and my brother. Everyone in my family has a D. I'm
Hmm.
Davison, and that's cool.
Yeah. So let me tell you one interesting
Yeah,
fact
please.
about it. My dad is called Francisco,
Mm,
right? And my dad is the third generation of Francisco on my father's side. So when it came the time that they discovered that they were expecting a son, my mom
yeah.
said, "We're gonna break that chain, man. You're not gonna be called Francisco." But interestingly, not by coincidence, my son is called Daniel, but it happens to be with D. But I don't think we really consciously decide like to pick a name for D, because my wife is Pamela and my daughter is Helena with the H. So there is
Okay,
no pattern there for that.
okay.
Yeah,
So that what Diego parent, Diego and Daniel.
yeah, we broke the chain. Yeah,
That's funny. That's funny. Wow, three generations, Francisco.
yeah.
Amazing. Is that a Brazilian thing?
I don't know, but I always play the prank, like you guys would never know. Like my family named people after cities in California. Like my dad is San Francisco
Oh, interesting.
and I'm San Diego, but I don't know.
Okay,
When I go to the coffee shop, they still spell my name as Diago, Diago, not Diego. But come on, it's a famous city. Everybody should know about
okay,
it, but they don't.
okay. Interesting. Francisco and Diego. Okay, awesome. That was amazing introduction. Now you have been tech forever, like technology, the technology world. Can you give us a like how does how did you actually start in technology? Like, let's go back in the days, college,
Hmm.
the beginning of your career.
The first exposure probably was with video games.
Okay,
Born in the 80s, right? And see the evolution of the video games, from
okay,
Atari to Mega Drive, Nintendo, Super
yeah,
Nintendo, and then just goes. And then also with the PCs, we're the generation that was introduced to the first home computers, right?
I
If
remember
I don't
that.
recall, my first PC was a 286 model that used to do
Oh, okay,
the
remember.
hard drive, the flop disks replacements to install and video games, and also the screensaver that would be like shuffling around the screen. So people that are not born in the 80s probably not know what
Yeah,
we're talking about here.
you remember touching the mouse for the first time, like what is this
Yeah,
thing?
like it's so weird. This is not gonna catch up. Yeah, and everything is now is touchless. So
I still remember
we've
it.
we finally got away from the mouse. Everything's touchscreen now. Yeah,
Okay, no, that's okay. Wow, so that was long '80s. I'm also from the '80s, so
yeah.
I can
So
resonate.
now fast forwarding a little bit. The decision to pursue the career beyond like just being like enthusiast for doing typing on the keyboard, and getting like Word documents, and being a generation that used to wait until midnight to pay like one pulse per connection to stay up late playing on internet, web
Yeah.
forums and ICQ. I still remember my ICQ number, by the way. It's a 7 digits. And again, just dating myself a little bit. People that remembers the ICQ, you are a old generation,
Oh,
set for extinction.
you have to enter and type.
Yeah, exactly. But the first time I came to the States actually was back in 1999 as an exchange student. And
Mm.
the host family, which I still am in touch after all that years, happens to be a person that has really big impact in my life. It helped me to learn English proficiently, and also he was in the satellite industry. Remember when people used
Mm.
to print the maps to get directions and used to carry
Yeah,
the
I'm a map
printed
quest,
copies
man.
of, yeah,
Yeah, how
exactly.
people
So
survive without maps and I
I
mean,
know.
yes, like it's
Yeah,
crazy.
but it has to be all printed hard copies, right? And we had to
Yeah,
carry those
yeah.
in the cars. But it so he actually worked with mapping terrains for the government, and I decided, man, I wanted to work with that. That's so cool, like image processing, satellite. I want to do telecommunications. So back in
Mm,
Brazil, after my high school exchange student program, I
mm,
was looking at those books for like. Which career should I choose? Which careers are paying
mm,
well? And telecommunication was offered in my hometown, Taubaté, São Paulo, in the country
right.
state. And I said, man, I just need to cross the street to go to the engineering campus. I can still live in my house, have my bed done, my food cooked,
Yeah.
prepared for me, my clothes washed. I would do telecommunication, and that's what I did.
No brainer, no brainer.
Yeah, no brainer. So that's how I got into the telecommunications engineering.
Wow. So okay, so interesting. So one of my mentors kind of gave you that inspiration, and then you got excited about that. How was that? Was that all that you expected, by the way? Like the course and like, how did you the first job after college?
Yeah, of course. My first job was not in tech. It
Okay,
was as a English teacher in private
interesting.
schools in
Interesting.
English as a second language back in Brazil. The idea was to continue my learnings and my fluency in English by not losing, by
Mm,
practicing in more dynamic scenarios. So teaching English, I thought it was a good way to make some extra money. When you're in college, everybody's broken. Want to get some extra money for parties and stuff. So
okay.
yeah, sounds like a good plan. And that's what I did for maybe almost 2 years back then.
Oh,
And I
wow,
was
okay.
still pursuing my telecommunication engineering, studying at night. But at that
Mm,
time, um, I participated in internship
okay.
interview. for engineering in a learning department, which was
Mm.
interesting because you had to be uh, enthusiast for technology, for learning cutting edge technology skills, and it was to transfer knowledge to companies in the wireless telecommunications, mobile wireless systems.
Mm.
So I happen to have it's like a lightning hit your head. It only happens once. Like they need somebody that was comfortable teaching, presenting to others, and enthusiast and learning engineering school. So I had the two checkpoints, and that was my first
Wow.
opportunity. And this is actually the same company, Ericsson, that I worked for 18 years
Oh my
since my
gosh,
internship,
yeah.
and that's what brought me to the United States. 18
Oh my
years.
gosh.
Yeah.
And English, because I would assume that a lot of their teaching methodologies or whatever information, some of the stuff was in English, and you're an
Yep.
English teacher, so
Yep.
everything is kind of like you said, like lightning bolt.
Yeah, exactly. And to make things a little more, yeah, obviously documentation, manuals are usually in English, but
Mm-hmm.
Spanish was my main professional language for the
Oh,
first 3 years because I traveled across the globe with my previous company, traveling to the customer site
yeah.
globally to teach the trainings. But most of my training were delivered in in Latin America, so from
Mm,
Chile to
yeah.
Mexico. So I had to start learning also Spanish during my internship in order to be one of the shortlisted for a position as a engineer and by teaching by doing. And I think that a lot, as we talk about technology, a lot of the things that we do is we learn by doing. We
Mm-hmm.
develop technical skills by practicing those, by putting into real use world scenarios to make sense out of it, because sometimes technology can be very boring. So
Yeah.
that was the same for Spanish. English is actually a subject that was a nightmare for me in the middle school and
Mm.
during high school until I start taking private classes on my own to not fail and drop 1 year of school because of languages. I was never good in Portuguese grammar. I was never the top of the class in English. And guess what? I end up teaching in multiple languages, English and Spanish. I actually learned some French. Never had a chance to teach a training in French, but I started learning that. But then I moved to United States, and then English became my second language.
Wow. Whew, okay. We could talk about international careers. We could talk about multiple languages, the ability, the emotional, the cultural intelligence, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's so many ways you can go here. And if you go to Diego's LinkedIn profile, you can see a bunch of certifications there that he has for Microsoft, which
Hmm.
brings me to the next that I want to see if we can transition here now.
Sure.
Now, you did all this technology, you start teaching actually people how to use, the technology. The language skills came in handy, and you were ready for the opportunities. How how many years you said? 16 to 18 years in Ericsson.
18 years at
18.
Ericsson, and now in July I will complete my first 3 years with Microsoft. So I moved from a tier one global company in telecommunication that dominates the industry to Microsoft on the IT space.
Wow. So now that's magic right there. How? So you went, but also you went from technology to tech sales, and now you're in tech sales. You're a solution
In
architect.
sales. Yeah,
Yeah, you can talk a little bit
first
more
time in
about that.
sales. Never thought about
Okay,
seeing myself in sales. It happened.
how that happened? How did you? Well, I kind of have an idea, but I'm gonna have you to answer. How did you hack into tech sales, though? Like, tell us a little bit more about that. How was the process to get into Microsoft?
Yeah,
Leading one of the leading technology companies in the world.
yeah. I mean, there's different ways you can go by this. I'll try to surprise you with a different approach. Let's see by the end if I succeeded or if I
Yes.
failed miserably. You tell me. When you think about the word hack, you're like it's try and error. There is no right or wrong way of doing this. So I think that
Mm,
what brought me here is a collection of failures throughout my entire career,
mm,
to put it simple. Okay.
Wow.
I started in a 100% theoretical environment, like reading manuals, opening the box in a concealed environment, traveling to a customer site and observing that the product specifications, when deployed on the field, don't behave as in the manual. So,
Mm,
like, a good way to learn is by doing. By the best way of learning something is many times by teaching, because you see like the things that you have not thought about, and career is all about it. It's important to set a plan, to set a target that you want to pursue. And then I think that the success throughout any one career, it's not the technology, it's not the industry, is management
mm,
of time. So basically, plan your work and work on your plan. You know,
love
so
that.
I noticed in my telecommunication industry that the industry itself was getting saturated. Like, it's very rare places where you go and you don't have like coverage on your mobile phones today, right? That's a fact.
Hmm.
But that was not the case 20 years ago, 25 years ago. There was a lot of blind spots in coverage,
Mm,
right? And nowadays, you don't really care much if you are on 3G coverage or 5G coverage. As long as you have signal, you open the
yeah,
app, you're happy, right?
yeah, yeah.
So the industry is not investing as heavily. There's still a lot of innovation going on, and it's leading to new fields of opportunity. But
Mm,
I noticed that the money, the investment was shifting from infrastructure to on premises to hosted, but at least by someone in the
mm,
cloud in space. And I said that's the direction that I want to go. So what did I do? Micro learnings, like small trainings in things that helps me to execute my job, but it's pointing me to the direction naturally,
mm.
organically, that I want to go.
Okay, nice. Okay, I want to hear more about that because a lot of people listening to this right now,
Uh
they're
huh.
thinking like, how in the world can I be like Diego? Like, there's no way I can have all those certifications. I look here, they say, just counting quickly, 3, 6, 8, plus all the other training, right? Um, nah, tech is not for me. How can you give hope to those people, the listeners here today? This podcast is like all about giving hope to people. Hey, you can get into tech sales. You don't have to be technical. I know you started on that field, but micro learnings, I want to hear more about that.
Yeah, microlearning basically means break down a very complex task and technology, that's all it is, into smaller and achievable. Start with something that you have aptitude for, or you have more passion or interest or simply curiosity.
Mm,
If you want to hack into technology, and if you're not a curious person, it's just not for you.
no,
Should
but
you really invest your time on that? You know, because
mm,
there are a lot of opportunities to hack into technology roles, but if you don't have curiosity, if you don't have passion for it, you probably would spend better your time in a place where it gives you more rewards for the time that you have to invest. Because technology, it changes a lot, it innovates frequently, but
mm,
it's a challenge to keep up with. So it's something that you have to continuously do. And I see a lot of analogy between technology and health. Like,
mm,
how do you keep yourself healthy? By doing
mm,
regular exercises. If you stop doing exercise for some time, what's going to happen? It's
yeah,
hard to get back. But
I got
once
it.
you are into it, it's natural, it's organic, it's fluid. And the
Mm,
same way that it goes with technology. If you're not into technology, if you want to learn something like machine learning, artificial intelligence, it's a big jump. But there are basic foundational things that you can start taking, like many cloud providers, not just Microsoft, but Google, AWS, you name it. They all offer free and foundational training. So if you want to work with machine learning or artificial intelligence, which was the last
mhm,
certification that probably you see in my LinkedIn, it's a result of a series of certifications and learnings in that industry.
mm. I love the analogy. I really like analogy, so I really like the analogy of the technologies like health. And I remember when I went on paternity leave for like 3 months, and I go back. It was almost like being out of the gym for 3 months. You have to you call them prices have changed. The technology is different. As a seller, I'm like clients are asking those questions. I'm like, whoa, gotta catch up really fast. It's always like that. Growth mindset is number one needed, right? If you want to be tech sales, great, great,
Right.
great point right there.
Yeah. And
Um,
I can add a little bit
yeah,
more on that as well. Let's say you set yourself to run a marathon, like the analogy with the artificial intelligence. You're not going to wake up the next morning and run
mm,
42 kilometers, 50 kilometers. You probably should start walking in the neighborhood.
love
Create
it.
a habit of walking a regular routine. Same goes for technology. Like it's not important just set the goal and go after the goal, but to plan, like I mentioned before, how you're going to get there, and
Mm-hmm.
there is so much information available, publicly available for free. As a matter of fact, YouTube is one of my greatest sources of self-study. I
Free,
go a lot.
free.
Of course, there's a lot of inaccurate and bad data, but there's also really good data out there,
What would
just
you
like this podcast.
recommend? Yeah, I love that. What would you recommend for someone tapping into the technology now? Where they should focus their learning? I know we talk about AI, and that's one of the buckets. Is there anything else, or even within AI? What would you recommend if I were starting today, trying to transition to tech sales? This is what I would be studying.
Right. So, for example, there's different flavors. Like when you talk about technology, hacking into technology, there's out-of-the-shelf technology. For example, that's how we met, right? You used to work with the Office 365 licenses,
Hmm.
right? That's out-of-the-shelf technology, and there is the let's let's call it the a segment of technology, for lack of better words. The other one is the engineering building blocks that there is no right or wrong way to build, but it's very
Mm-hmm.
custom. Why? Because the out of the shelf limits you in certain scope, right? One doesn't replace the other. They meet different people. It's like the debate. Should I go for a smartwatch, Garmin, Fitbit, or Apple Watch?
Right.
There is no right or wrong. It's just
Different
like
client.
different profile.
Mhm.
Sorry
Okay.
for that. I'm recovering a little bit from a cold and some allergy that has been going on. Um, did I answer the question?
No,
Or
yeah,
maybe I
yeah,
should rephrase.
yes, you did. You're trying to answer like where you should be studying,
Oh,
how, and
right. Yeah, for
there's different ways
example,
to go.
the area of technology that I have hacked into is the cloud computing.
Mm,
And for that, I would say look into foundational trainings and certifications offered by all cloud providers. And all the three big players, they do offer a lot of vouchers for free training, and
mm-hmm,
campaigns throughout each company fiscal year where you can take sometimes trainings for free and get free certifications for foundational. That gives you a pretty good idea of the entire eh, environment, the ecosystem offered by that product, cloud computing. And there's also other out of the shelves that you don't need to build anything. You just need to understand how the functionalities can be utilized at its maximum and full potential, like the Office
mm-hmm.
products, like in case of Microsoft. So licensing can be one area if you want to hack into, so specializing in licenses, the different licenses, what changes between different licenses as packaging, how those are packed. And other ones is like pure products as losing resources that can be connected in many different ways, which is a more engineering level approach. That's the area where I am.
Yeah, so there's different ways everyone to tap into it. You mentioned about the three big players. He's referring to Microsoft, Google, and AWS. And yes, there's free stuff up there like uh, YouTube. They sometimes they do hackathons, they do free vouchers, they do all this training. There's no excuse to not have access to the training. Now, if you want to run the marathon or not, it's going to be up to you in preparing your training routine, right? I
Hmm.
love that. I really like that analogy. I'm going to use that moving forward.
Okay.
Now, you got into Microsoft though. Like, let's dive into deeper into that. Like,
Yes.
I know you probably had a very successful career in Ericsson. And how did you hear about the role? How did you apply? Was that a recommendation? How did you hack into Microsoft? Because not everyone can do it.
Yeah.
It's hard. A lot of people
Well,
are millions of applications I hear that they get globally every day.
yeah. For this particular opportunity that I participated in the selection process, I was found on LinkedIn.
Oh, LinkedIn,
Yeah.
love
Now,
it.
the reason why I was found is because I made LinkedIn uh, to reflect my personal curriculum. Like everything that I have in my
Mm,
resume that I would apply to a job career, I also reflect that. So actually, when you
ooh,
look at the main page of my LinkedIn, you see the 8 Microsoft certifications. But if you scroll
yep.
down to my profile page to the bottom of it, you will see that I have throughout my entire career collecting certifications as micro learnings that were parallel but foundational building blocks as
Mm,
foundational and baseline skills to take that
right.
first step for cloud computing. So there's a
Wow.
lot of certifications that you will be able to see down there as well.
Wow. So let me repeat that because maybe he just dropped like a huge nugget here that I try to teach some of my clients when I coach, that you can literally turn your LinkedIn page in a SEO like on steroids to attract opportunities, recruiters,
Yeah.
and it was an inbound it was an
Yeah.
inbound opportunity. People came after him. Probably like, was that a recruiter for Microsoft? Like
Yeah, it was a recruiter from Microsoft because what you put in your LinkedIn is gonna make your profile more attractive to a certain industry, to a certain niche of technology, and also you less attractive to some of the
mm,
areas. So, for example, if you want to hack into technology job opportunities, a lot of human skills, experience, academic studies, achievements it's just pointing you naturally to different directions. So you have to align for whatever industry, for whatever career goals you have, your profile, your resume, your qualifications to match the job offer. So investigating what are the main requirements that a job offering is requesting as a competence, as experience. How are you reflecting that to be attractive? I do get maybe in a low month, 5 to 6 offers for job from recruiters that find
yeah,
my profile on
yeah.
LinkedIn, both still in technology in telecommunications that I left
Mm,
3 years almost 3 years ago, so nearly 3 years ago, but also in the cloud industry today for some contractor,
amazing,
some temporary uh, uh, 3 months, 6 months to like a full-time employee job opportunity to participate in the process. There's everything.
amazing. That's absolutely amazing, and that happens to me too. I get out stuff all the time because I took the time to optimize my LinkedIn for tech sales. Everyone, please listen to this. It's a minute 27 here on this podcast. You can literally do the same. It's
Yep.
it's it's something that's in your control. To use the keywords, to adapt your LinkedIn profile. You have the login, you have the password. You can go there and you can change things. You just have to make the time. Now that's job security right here. Diego is doing extremely well at Microsoft, and there's probably even Microsoft recruiters that reach out to him because there's different teams, there's different units, and they don't talk to each other a lot of times. And he has a pipeline of opportunities that he's just sitting on it, and he can just look at it and makes you feel good, and he's continually showing his value in the market. So
Yeah,
up to
and if I
you.
can leave one last message, I don't know, I
Yeah.
think we're getting to the end of this, is surround yourself by people that will help you to drive a growth mindset because you will always be the average of the people that you allow to be yourself surrounded by. So in the
Mm,
area that you are today, if you can't find that people that help you to move to the direction that you are, try to get in contact, ping people on LinkedIn, make contact to those people in that area Ask for one-on-ones. No is a given. You may get a yes. Let's meet as a bonus, So I
Mm,
would say surround yourself by those that will help you to have a growth mindset in the direction that you're looking for.
I love it, and I guarantee 100% that Diego's doing that because you can see his progression, how he manages his career, and it has been successful at Microsoft right now. It's not for everyone, but uh, as the things that he's teaching you here right now, it's something that everyone has the potential to do, right? You just have to make the time, and you have to plan, you have to have a strategy, and you have to execute.
Yeah.
Wow,
And
that's
maybe one last thing,
yeah,
since
yeah, please.
you got me very excited.
No, I
The,
love those conversations. And every time it's just different,
the,
and I
the good
totally like it.
habits and the good things that you do in life reflect at work and the other way around.
Mm,
So if you want to change your career, make sure you're spending time to take care of yourself to
mm,
achieve a good life balance. Otherwise, you may get all the certifications, but you might be in a stressed out that once you get the job interview for the comp that you're looking for, if you don't have a good mental health
mm,
balance, you won't be able to to sell yourself in a job interview. So if you want to hack into technology and change a career into technology, also make sure that you find some time to balance that out and take care of your health, take care of yourself.
I
A
love
good
it.
night's sleep, a good time planning, a good time management, and stick to the plan and be persistent, and resilient to adapt along the way. Because like it's
Mm,
hacking to technology is hacking for life. Like you have to try and error, you have to experiment and find your way into there. The things that led me here won't keep me here forever.
mm.
You have to be resilient.
What a good message towards the end here, because a lot of times people think like, hey, I don't want to go into tech sales because that's too much for me, or I'm gonna waste away my life, or
Hmm.
uh, it's just too crazy hours, whatever. Like Diego here is very being very straightforward and telling everyone that's possible, it's doable, and in fact is needed in
Yep.
order for you to be successful. So it's like a must. Otherwise, you would not survive the pressure or the demands, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I like we call the big rocks, right? Put the big rocks first, take
Hmm.
care of your health, and then everything else kind of falls into place.
Yes.
The same here. I really like that. Is that a hack that you use, like in your personal life, that you were able to manage that? Like you gave some examples, but what's really like the everyone's different. What's the differential for you? We have a couple of more minutes.
Sure. Okay. So I can show you because it's
Yes,
right
please.
here.
Oh
It's my
wow,
bike.
there you go.
It's my bicycle.
It's right there.
It's right there.
It's right
Um,
there.
um, I try to take breaks. And for example, I'm in a sales today. So part of what I do is to excel in technology and be able to transfer the value for a customer during a customer meeting in engagement to identify the right opportunities.
Mm,
So to balance my technology investments when I'm sitting on my computer, I try to go outdoor and do some walk or some running, some jogging. But if I'm indoor, if it's too cold, too windy, or too hot, which is the common thing here in Texas, I can jump on my bike and listen to a audiobook. And by
mm,
the way, look for libraries. If you are in the United States, there's public libraries, and they do offer digital license for you to borrow digital books online. I
ebook,
do a
yeah.
lot of audiobook, like soft skills,
Mm,
12 rules for life, the mountain is you, in the sales, let's get real or let's not play, growth mindset. There's so many books out there, that you can listen to when you're doing exercise to get yourself a little bit out of technology as well.
mm. I love it. I love it. That way you can refresh your mind, your brain's ready to receive, and
Yeah,
then you get more and more knowledge, and you're ready to be in front of your clients.
yeah. And actually, exercise helps with concentration. A good night's sleep helps with concentration. If you're trying to
Love it.
learn or develop a new skill, a new technology, competence, you got to take care of yourself. Otherwise, it's inefficient. It doesn't feel like you're moving the needle.
Man, this this was like better than we deserved.
Well,
Great conversation.
you get
Uh,
what you pay for, man. You're the man. The work that you're doing here definitely impacts a lot of people. They're trying to get through and have their breakthrough into technology competence areas. There's so much out there that this is just a testimony of someone that found its way into this technology by hacking it. But
mhm,
there's no right or wrong. There's no silver bullet. But it's the attitude that you bring to it, is the results that you're gonna get and achieve out of it.
I love it. And everyone has a different story and journey. That's why I was like, let me create this podcast so I can
Hmm.
capture those moments, right? Those stories. And
Yes.
it's for me, honestly, if you, I know a lot of people are listening to this, but if anybody that like I am learning so much, it's be so cool. Like I love those
Yeah.
interviews.
If we're not learning, and then something has to change. We gotta learn something. It doesn't need to be technology. Technology could be the use case, but you gotta keep challenging yourself. Get out of your comfort zone, either with more regular exercise, better sleep quality, family time. Family time is also very important,
Mm-hmm.
like for a
100%.
mental health. Like you should not be feel guilty about work when you are with your family, and should not be feel guilty about family when you are at work.
I love that.
Yeah.
Follow Diego on LinkedIn, connect with him if you want to learn more about, how to balance that. I know he does. He's present on LinkedIn as well. So,
Yeah.
anyways, thank you so much. That was an
Thank
amazing
you.
episode, Diego. We're
Thank
gonna
you,
be able
Daveson.
to expect a lot of
Pleasure to be
insight
here.
from here. Thank you
All
so
right.
much, everyone.
Hmm.
See you next time.
Thank you. Bye bye, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in to the Tech Sales Funnels podcast, where we crack the code and uncover the strategies to break into tech sales. If you found value in today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who's ready to hack their way into this exciting career. Remember, hacking into tech sales isn't just a goal, it's a mission. Let's keep hacking, learning, and winning together. Catch you next time.